single most conservative individual in the world with ultra right-wing viewpoints. Bob Garrett is here. No, just kidding. A little joke there. Sorry, buddy.
Raging moderate.
Yeah, raging. Yeah, and that's something. Yeah, he's very adamant about his middle-of-the-road viewpoints. Ben Reichley is here, Republican committeeman locally, businessman, so he's right in his element today as we talk about employment, and we're going to have a couple of guests in here. Bob Garrett is here, President and CEO of the Greater Susquehanna Valley Chamber of Commerce, an outdoor writer in the Daily Item, and just a great person to have around when you want to talk about business and the community and finance. So welcome aboard, sir. Thanks for coming in. We also have with us Rick Weibel is in the studio. So we know Wall Street must be plummeting if we called Rick. Well, actually, either plummeting or superlatives. We call you for that also, right?
Also, right. You got it.
Right. So Rick Weibel, REW
You're
Investments.
not the bearer of bad news, right?
I am not the bearer. I only talk good stuff.
Yeah.
No, it should be good this week. So, yeah,
Could be.
REW Financial is the company that he founded with his lovely bride Lee, and they just are doing a fantastic job up in Lewisburg, keeping us informed on these kind of things. So we're very glad to say that that's in the studio on the other side of the glass and kept a safe distance from the ultimate outdoorsman who's in the studio. That would be Bob Garrett. He is Kevin Herr on the other side of the glass, the unsuccessful outdoorsman of our time. Kevin Herr hunts, keyword hunt, deer, turkey, bear, rabbit, and all of those types of animals. It's really actually an animal preservation system that he's got going, so he's on the other side of the glass. So thank you, Kevin. He's running the webcam. The webcam is up and running, so we invite you to check it out. It has a crystal clear image of everyone in the studio, and it also shows the fact that when the commercial is on, you get to hear the important message from our sponsor. You see a short clip of that. Kevin makes sure that the chroma key, I call it, but that's not really what it is, I'm sure. That's right now outdated term, has the right words on it, lists who's calling, and lists the toll-free line. So the webcam is up and running. Sunbury Motor Company is our sponsor. They're located at two big locations. One is North 4th Street in Sunbury, and they have hundreds of vehicles there, including about 70 Ford F-150s. They had 75 until Kevin started playing them up this week, and now they're down to just 70, but they would just love to make a deal with you. They're 2014s, and believe it or don't, it isn't going to be too long. They'll be talking about 2015s. Kevin's driving around in that tuna boat, his F-150 Lariat, and that is almost enough to haul 0.1% of the trophies he's won. So he'll talk about the big truck he gets to drive this week a little bit later on the mark. But SunburyMotors.com, the place to go when you are ready to make a deal to make sure that the Ford that has your name written all over it ends up in your driveway. And the Let It Be Solar email in basket is open throughout our show today. We invite you to call in or email us at onthemarket@WKOK.com. It plops right into the Let It Be Solar email in basket, and that email in basket is very important because we do read your message on the radio, so feel free to call us. On the very latter portion of our program, Jessica Poquin's going to stop in from the Campus Theater. We know her as one of the outreach staffers there, but she's the owner of Fist and Post Productions, which is a ultra-independent filmmaking company. You don't hear too much about them unless we're really talking about the arts, but she'll be coming in to talk about Old Baby, and that is their film that they're working on in the area. They're looking for extras, so if you're interested in being in a film, that is your chance. Tonight's the first opportunity, so we'll talk a little bit about that. She's coming in later today. So that's the cast of characters, but I've gotten everybody mentioned except one, and that's Anabar Basu, as chairman of and CEO of Sage Policy Group. If you're active with the chamber, you're saying, oh my gosh, Anabar is going to be on the radio, and he will be on because in just a moment, because in a week or so he'll be here with the annual Economic Forecast Luncheon that is open to the public. You don't have to be a chamber member to go. So if you're just a member of a local business around here and maybe you didn't have the foresight to join the chamber yet, there is an opportunity for you to find out about this great forecast that he issues, and then brings it right down to street level to things that really can help you do your, the agility of the day-to-day business decisions that you have to make. He can help guide you with that. We're glad to say that Anabar Basu is on the line. Good morning, sir. Thanks for calling in.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
I really do appreciate it, and thanks for coming to the Valley every year and bringing the economic forecast here. At the panel discussion today, I have across from me a businessman, Ben Reichley, who's my co-host on the show. Bob Garrett is here, of course, your friend from the many opportunities. You guys have probably seen each other, I hope anyway, at the chamber meetings. Nope, okay, they have never met. Okay, isn't that funny? Okay, well there, okay, another lie by Mark Lawrence. Now, Rick Weibel is here from REW Investments. So that's the panel that we have gathered here. You're going to be talking next week in Lewisburg when the Greater Susquehanna Valley Chamber of Commerce holds their economic forecast luncheon. Can you give us a glimpse of what you'll have to say, and then we'll talk a little bit about the unemployment numbers that'll be coming out today?
Well, yeah, in fact, those employment numbers just came out a moment ago, and they're pretty interesting and somewhat surprising. But, my presentation will focus very broadly, at least at first, on the global economy. This is another disappointing year, actually, as it turns out, for the global economy. Each year, economists, among others, enter the new year with some degree of optimism, and then steadily, slowly, things seem to fall apart. Actually, this year, much of the early weakness in 2014 was in America. You'll remember that the U.S. economy actually shrank during the first 3 months of the year. And more recently, it has been the European and Japanese economies that have been laboring to continue to expand. In fact, much of Europe appears to be already back in recession. Certainly the Italians are. So I'll be talking about some of those things and why that's occurred and what that means for the average American family or the not-so-average American family. I'll then, after discussing some of the dynamics globally, including some of the geopolitical things we're observing in the Middle East and Russia and so on and so forth, China, Japan, get into U.S. economic data. Those data show that we are in recovery. People can quibble about the pace of recovery and how this recovery stacks up against prior recoveries. It has been a softer recovery. It has been a softer recovery in Pennsylvania. It has been a softer recovery in the Mid-Atlantic region of the United States generally. Where we see brisk growth are in places like Texas, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Colorado. These are natural resource intensive states. There are parts of Pennsylvania, of course, that are also natural resource intensive, and those areas have tended to be the most rapidly recovering. I'll talk about financial markets, housing markets, energy markets, retail markets, all manner of markets, and then I'll conclude with the forecast for the balance of the year. And of course, as you might know, we economists do not have a great reputation for forecasting accuracy, so that's an opportunity not to pay attention.
All right, I have one quick question. We'll go around the table and we'll let everybody ask you a quick question. I'm the most street-level person here, and I just need hope. I watched the tumultuous, really what is a decline, as you described, in Europe, and we're seeing, really, I guess the local economy is picking up a little, but we still know tons of people who are way underemployed. So where's the hope as we head into the year ahead?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's hope. We have completed 5 years of economic recovery. One of the issues with this recovery is that the gains from the growth that's taken place has been so unevenly shared. And I don't say that from any kind of political perspective. But, the data indicate that there is this growing gap between the haves and have-nots, that our society is bifurcating, that owners of assets, particularly stocks, but also land and other types of assets, have done quite well in terms of seeing their wealth expand in recent years. But the typical American worker has not done quite as well. Job quality has improved in just the last few months, but over the course of this 5+ year recovery thus far, average job quality added, if you look at the quality of the jobs being added, has been extraordinarily low. Not nearly enough to help people replace the incomes they might have lost during the Great Recession. And so where's the hope? The hope is that somehow we can find a way as a nation to produce more middle-income jobs. But that requires having an energy strategy, an infrastructure strategy, dealing appropriately with immigration, whether legal or illegal, doing very fundamental, very basic things. For 4 years, this nation didn't even pass a federal budget, and we just recently shut down our federal government. We are dysfunction palooza, and no surprise, our economy is not performing at its best, and as it turns out, the middle class has suffered disproportionately from that. And there's some other broader factors such as technology and globalization, which have also hammered away at middle-income jobs. So the hope is that we can do better as a people. We have abundant natural resources. We are arguably the most educated people on the planet. We are certainly the most innovative people on the planet. We have the finest higher educational institutions. And in fact, the part of the Pennsylvania in which I'll be speaking, of course, is very well known for higher education. And so there's the hope. We have the potential. Whether or not we'll actually actualize that potential to any meaningful degree is a story yet to be told.
Well, sir, one of the things I would look at, though, throughout history, haven't there always been a difference between the haves and have-nots, and people who acquired assets, who had assets, who were the have-nots became the haves? But that's a lesson that we've seen throughout history and the economics of the world.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, by definition, the haves have and the have-nots don't. I would say that the gaps in income and wealth were not nearly as large in America in the 50s and 60s. The gaps in wealth and income that we see now are somewhat akin to some of the things we saw in the 1920s. Again, I'm not saying this from any political perspective. There's a lot of things happening right now that America can't control. America can't control, at least to a large extent, the fact that Chinese productive capacity has expanded so much. Indian productive capacity has expanded so much. Malaysian, Brazilian, so on and so forth. So our middle class is having to compete more forcefully with people who have similar skills in other parts of the world, but accept pennies on the dollar in many cases. So, I mean, there's some differences, some things that have happened in recent decades. That said, we have got to find a way to rejuvenate the middle class, to stabilize incomes. And whether you're in central Pennsylvania or whether you're in the Baltimore metropolitan area, which is where I'm in, I can see that the middle class is under pressure. I think everyone can see it. The statistics suggest it. And, there could be some counterproductive efforts to rejuvenate the middle class. Large transfers of wealth, for instance, I don't think make a lot of sense from an economic growth and economic dynamism perspective. But we've got to figure out a way, and I still believe it has to do with having an energy strategy, having an infrastructure strategy, making the typical American worker more productive, and therefore allowing them to enjoy greater income. That is an aspect of that productivity.
And can we get your take on the news yesterday about the European Central Bank, where they chose to cut their interest rates, and then they also agreed to buy back the asset-backed securities? Is that a playbook? Is that out of the playbook of the U.S. Fed?
No, this is the American playbook, isn't it? I mean, this is the QE1, QE2, QE3, meaning quantitative easing round 1, 2, and 3. That's the playbook. We drove short-term interest rates to 0%, and then we bought U.S. Treasuries and collateralized mortgage-backed securities. And by we, I mean, of course, the Federal Reserve Bank of the United States, our central bank. So yesterday, the European Central Bank takes a page right out of our playbook, and we'll see if it works for them. Many commentators yesterday pointed out that the European securitization market is different. Their market for mortgages is different, and it's not just one nation, of course. You have a number of different mortgage markets. The mortgage market in Italy operates differently than the mortgage market in Germany, and so QE, quantitative easing, these asset purchases are much simpler as a proposition in America than they are in Europe. And there's reason to believe, therefore, that QE won't be as effective in Europe as it has been in America. And many people will indicate that it actually hasn't been that successful in America, other than creating perhaps asset bubbles in stocks and bonds. But in any case, the Europeans are desperate now. In some sense, the Europeans are at war with themselves. What's new? The Germans don't like this policy. They're constantly worried about inflation, but their economy has been performing better than much of the balance of Europe. The balance of Europe is dealing with youth unemployment rates of 30%, 40%, so on and so forth, and they need stimulus. And so Mario Draghi and the European Central Bank is offering precisely that.
There's not a whole lot.
Hold on, Ben. Hold on. U.S. employers added just 142,000 jobs in August, snapping a 6-month streak of hiring above 200,000 and posting the smallest gain in 8 months. The U.S. Labor Department says the unemployment rate fell to 6.1% from 6.2%, but the rate dropped because fewer people were working or seeking jobs. So, Anabar, we'll ask you for your take on this, and then we'll have to let you go. Go ahead.
Right. Right. So disappointing number. The consensus on Wall Street and elsewhere had been 220,000. We got 142,000. Labor force participation rate lost to 62.8%. Again, near a 36-year low. Disappointing number, but it's August, and this number is subject to revision. I suspect it could be revised upward, will be revised upward, maybe not a lot, but it will be, and that we really are probably on a pace of adding about 200,000 jobs a month in America. And the recovery continues. I think this is a surprising number and runs against the trend of other data that we've seen on auto sales, industrial production, durable goods orders, some of the other more benign data releases that we've received very recently.
Mr. Basu, this is Bob Garrett, the new president CEO of the Greater Susquehanna Valley Chamber of Commerce. I will be thrilled to meet you next Thursday. You are a legend in this valley, and I can't wait for that opportunity. However, I wanted to bring us pinpoint right into the Susquehanna Valley. We recently was announced that our long-delayed Susquehanna Valley Thruway is going to move forward. We're going to hope to have a groundbreaking next week. Could you just talk a little bit about the economic opportunities that come from those kind of construction projects and from an area that's currently not served by an interstate highway, getting an interstate look-alike highway into that area, and what folks can look forward to in the coming couple of years with that kind of a construction project?
Well, it's a game changer, isn't it? Because, first of all, there'll be a lot of construction jobs here, many hundreds, and those construction jobs typically pay middle-income wages or better. So that's one. But after construction, I think, is when it gets really exciting because it's all about connectivity. It's all about connectivity to larger metropolitan area economies and the broader global economy. This is a game changer for this region. This region has been looking for a spark, as you know, an economic spark in recent years. This is a region, this Greater Susquehanna Valley region, and the way the Chamber defines it, as I understand it, it's 4 counties: Union, Montour, Snyder, and Northumberland. It's a population of about 250,000, and this region has been looking for somewhat of an economic engine, an economic spark. I think the Thruway provides the region with precisely that kind of connectivity, and I think the outlook for the region has brightened significantly with this announcement.
All right, well, we'll give you an additional comment for our closing remark before we let you go. We know we'll see you in person next week, so an additional remark.
Well, I think that 2015 is shaping up to be an extraordinarily interesting year. I actually believe that we're going to enter the year with plentiful economic momentum, today's employment release notwithstanding, but that next year interest rates begin to rise in earnest. I know you've heard other economists predict that in recent years. I haven't been, but I think next year is the year that interest rates start to move higher in meaningful ways, and so it'll be interesting to see how the economy deals with that and how much of that momentum can be sustained into 2016 and 2017, which I think will be even more interesting years for the U.S. economy.
Well, thank you so much for checking in. Thanks for making us part of your travels next week. We do appreciate it. Thank you for being on the line, sir.
All right, thanks a lot. Take care.
Do appreciate that. That is Anubhav Basu, Chairman and CEO of the SAGE Policy Group, leads the Economic Forecast Luncheon each year for the Greater Susquehanna Valley Chamber of Commerce. We're going to get some more reaction to some of his remarks. We saw smiles when he talked about the CSVT being a catalyst for future growth around here. And we'll talk about joblessness and the CSVT when we return. You're listening to On the Mark. We have an open phone line, too, now, 1-800-795-9565. You can email us at onthemark@WKOK.com. It plops right into the Lenape Solar email in basket, and our main sponsor is the Sunbury Motor Company.
While looking for a vehicle, you know that if it sounds too good to be true, chances are it is too good to be true. You get the runaround, gotta go from place to place. Well, you can just skip all of that and go straight to Sunbury Motor Company. Sunbury Motor Company has been satisfying more customers and selling more cars since 1915, so you know they've got it right. No offers that look good on paper or online, and then you get disappointed when you see them in person. Sunbury Motor Company offers a lineup few other auto dealers in the area can compete with. With the inventory of Ford, Hyundai, Kia, and Lincoln vehicles, there will be no problem finding the right vehicle that fits your needs and your budget. And the friendly, knowledgeable staff's ready and able to help you with everything from the test drive to the drive off the lot. See for yourself at Sunbury Motors. Sunbury Motors, Ford, Lincoln, Hyundai in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury. And Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf. Look for them online anytime at sunburymotors.com.
With winter weather just around the corner, contact a qualified service technician to ensure that your propane system is operating safely. Make sure that everyone in your family knows what propane smells like and what to do in the event of a gas leak, including knowing where the gas supply valve is and when and how to safely close it. Call us today to learn more.
Brought to you by the Pennsylvania Propane Gas Association and your local propane service providers. Go Hunt PA, to enjoy the outdoors, to be with family and friends, or to put food on the table. Whatever the reason, the Pennsylvania Game Commission invites you to Go Hunt PA. Log on to gohuntpa.org to find information on wildlife, hunting, licensing, and much more. While you're there, subscribe to their email service to get all the latest news, like reminding hunters that waterfowl and dove seasons are open in September. Consult the migratory game bird brochure at gohuntpa.org for details. Go Hunt PA. Visit gohuntpa.org.
Home opener for the Nittany Lions tomorrow. Steve French, the play-by-play voice of Akron football, is going to join us, and Tyoka Jackson, a member of the 1994 team. 3 to 5, News Radio 1070, WKOK.
Welcome back to WKOK Live Telephone Talk Show. We got guests in the studios for the upcoming moments. Rick Weibel here from RAW Investments, Bob Garrett, Greater Susquehanna Valley Chamber of Commerce, and our own co-host, Ben Reichley, is here. The U.S. added 142,000 jobs in August, much less than expected. I'll add the adjective there. Unemployment 6.1%. Rick, what's your take on that?
Yeah, like you said, it is under expectations by quite a bit, but if you look over past August job reports in prior years, they often are increased substantially in months after, so it's not a surprise that it's a little low now, 6.1% unemployment, so futures actually improved on the news. That's surprising to me.
Yeah, why would that be? That doesn't make any sense to me anyway. Or maybe, maybe just a steady, slow rate is okay.
Sure. Well, I guess the theory would be is less reasons for the Fed to start increasing rates in the future. When their target is 6% unemployment rate, which we're certainly close now.
Okay, Bob.
Yeah, I guess I wanted to respond to what Rick was saying. I think probably that futures has to do with the monetary policy and the effect on monetary policy and inexpensive money, cheap money being around. Hey, Mark, I want to take an opportunity to correct something I said. An eagle-eared listener heard me say that there's a groundbreaking next week of the Thruway. It's next year. Wanted to correct that, but I also wanted to come back again and say that Dr. Basu was right on the mark that the Thruway is a game changer and will make a difference to the economic development of this valley.
We have to pull the groundbreaking together for next week because I already tweeted it. So, no, I'm just kidding. I did not. But, yes, social media can get ahead of you in a big hurry these days. All right, Ben, your thoughts on this, the jobless rate. I think disappointing comes to my brain, but other folks are...
Well, it's hugely disappointing, especially when they promote it. I mean, if they look at the history of August, if August is down, then don't promote that you're going to be 220, 240. And then the other confusing part to the average Joe and Jane out there is how do they not hire as many people, but why does unemployment go down, which is, again, people getting out of the labor market, which is a huge problem that people just don't want to address. People are dropping out of the labor market because they can't find work. Bob's point of and Rick talking about, it's inexpensive money for Wall Street to keep the Wall Street financial engine moving, and that's really what the reason that this unemployment rate's down or Wall Street is moving, because now they know they're going to have inexpensive money. Any one of us in here could become a bank if we could get money at 0% and loan it out at 3 or 4%. I mean, that's not a real difficult thing to do. So again, Mr. Basu talked about what Europe's trying to do in the quantitative easing, but also in America, how long can we hold on to very inexpensive money to try to keep the economy propped up? At what time does you raise the rates and start to participate in the real economic world, sort of not this, I don't want to say the Wizard of Oz type world, but Rick, you're in it day to day and you see it. But hopefully this juggling of the Fed is going to be able to work.
It's pretty interesting that yesterday Mario Draghi on the announcement of the asset-backed purchases, they also lowered interest rates, and the deposit rate that banks have for each other, they have a different term for it, but he actually lowered that from negative 0.1 to negative 0.2. So that's another encouraging sign to get them to start making these loans out.
Yeah, if they can get that money out, get it for the person who's trying to open a business, get it for the person who's trying to expand their business, get it out of the economy. Just don't let the bankers on Wall Street shuffle paper around and make money off of that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you're listening to On the Mark, WKOK Live Telephone Talk Show. We're going to keep our guests in the studio a little bit longer after 9 o'clock, but Bob Garrett, the president and CEO of the Greater Susquehanna Valley Chamber of Commerce, and an actual hunter. He doesn't just write about it, he actually does it. He's
3 doves already.
Oh, no kidding. And let's see, the game bag in his field coat is bloody, so we'll leave it at that. I don't know how far you want to get into this, but he's a successful hunter, so we're glad that he's on here, and he does a column in the Daily Item. So, and a very fascinating, especially if you have a young person interested in hunting. Yours is the go-to one that really addresses things that you want to talk to your youngsters about. Get them interested in
Need
this.
to know Sunday read.
Right.
On the outside.
And Lee Weibel was kind enough to send her husband in to talk to us about employment today. REW Investments founder and owner Rick Weibel is here. Ben Reichley, my co-host. Kevin Err, the greatest engineer the planet has ever seen. Actually, the whole Milky Way, the whole universe, as near as we can tell. Singly appointed by God to properly slide little audio sliders up and down and to run the webcam. Sunbury Motor Company, Lenape Solar, our sponsors, and you're going to be the star of the show. We'll have open phones during the 9 o'clock hour. We'll talk about Old Baby, a movie with Jessica Paquin behind the camera. That's coming up on WKOK Sunbury.
CBS News, I'm Frank Sedapani. The crystal balls were wrong. The government says employers added 142,000 new jobs in August, not the 220,000 or more that forecasters had been expecting. On top of that, gains for June and July were revised lower. Economist Diane Swonk says it's puzzling.
Certainly a huge disappointment with the employment numbers. They're not really consistent with what we've seen in terms of jobless claims.
Now, those claims for unemployment benefits have been trending lower. CBS News senior business analyst Jill Schlesinger takes a look at the industries where jobs are on the increase.
Within leisure and hospitality, employment in food services and drinking places continues to trend up. 22,000 jobs in August, but those are low-paying jobs.
Retailing was hit hard in August, losing more than 8,000 jobs. Overall, unemployment fell to 6.1%. It was 6.2% in July. At the NATO summit in Wales, Allied leaders have approved a new rapid response force to discourage Russian expansionism in Eastern Europe. Secretary General Anders Fogh Rasmussen.
This spearhead will include several thousand land troops ready to deploy within a few days with air, sea, and special forces support.
Talks on a ceasefire between Ukraine and pro-Russia separatists are underway now, but heavy fighting was reported to be going on in Mariupol, a key port city. Back in Wales, Secretary of State Kerry called on the Allies to come up with a plan to stop the ISIS terrorists who've run roughshod in parts of Iraq and Syria. A new book contends that the Americans killed in Benghazi, Libya 2 years ago could have been saved. Live to CBS News correspondent Barry Bagnato.
The Obama administration has acknowledged there was a delayed response to the embassy attack. In the book 13 Hours, 5 CIA commandos say their station chief, against their repeated protests, ordered them to remain in their vehicles, fully armed, less than a mile away, the New York Times reports, apparently to try to let local Libyan militias handle it. This while an embassy security agent shouted over a radio, "If you guys do not get here, we are going to die," prompting them to ignore the chief's orders and move in. Frank?
The third American missionary infected with the Ebola virus in West Africa arrived in Omaha a short time ago. Nebraska Highway Patrol cars escorted an ambulance to the hospital where Dr. Rick Sacro will be treated in a special isolation unit.
He does have a team of 35 doctors, nurses, and other staff attending to him. He will be here for as long as he needs treatment.
KMTV's Emily Zink. The government has approved the first in a new class of drugs that use the body's immune system to fight deadly melanoma skin cancer. Those drugs are expensive, but Georgetown University's Dr. Lewis Weiner says they're worth it.
This is a treatment that's working in people with very advanced cancer and very short life expectancies, and their lives are in some cases being transformed by these drugs.
S&P futures are down about 2 points ahead of the opening bell. This is CBS News.
You've been thinking about moving over to solar power for your home. So are a lot of other people, which is why some power companies are pushing for extra fees to make up the difference. Is it finally happening? Is solar power actually becoming a threat to the old power conglomerates? Don't fund Big Power's losses while everybody else goes solar. Get caught in the middle, or go with a trusted local solar company and actually own it, and reduce your energy bill with no down payment, interest, or payments for a whole year. Get tax breaks and big monthly energy savings. Avoid falling behind and paying extra. Don't be the last one in line. Our nation's power supplies are shifting. Wait too long and you may wind up paying for it. Want to completely eliminate your power bill? Get all the tax incentives you're entitled to while you still can. And do it locally, because local is accountable and we finance. Call 1-800-MY-SOLAR for a free in-home assessment. 1-800-MY-SOLAR.
My home, my savings. 1-800-MY-SOLAR.
Authorities in New York are looking into the circumstances surrounding the death of comedian Joan Rivers. Rivers went into cardiac arrest during recent throat surgery at an outpatient clinic. She died yesterday at the age of 81. CBS News correspondent Steve Futterman.
Her fans are remembering Joan Rivers,
a flat-out comedy icon.
And on the talk shows last night, Joan Rivers' fellow comedians remembered her as well. On CBS's Late Night, David Letterman talked about her longevity.
She was 81 years old out doing it, and funny today as she was when she first got into show business.
Many say Joan Rivers was a pioneer, opening the doors for other female comedians. Steve Futterman, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The deadly cobra that menaced Thousand Oaks, California for a few days this week is out of circulation. Animal control experts using a long-handled device grabbed the snake from a backyard woodpile. Frank Sedapani, CBS News.
This is Charles Osgood. What is customer service? Well, for some, it's a warm greeting or a smile or perhaps even knowing your name. But for the independent agents representing auto owners insurance, it's about more than that. It's getting to know you and your needs so that you can get the proper coverage. Really, it's better than customer service. It's customer care. Go to AutoOwners.com to locate an independent agent near you. Auto Owners Insurance. The no problem people.
If you've always wanted your teeth professionally whitened by a dentist but haven't had the time or money, listen to this. National Dental Supply is now giving listeners of this station a complete Pro Gel teeth whitening kit as a free sample. This Pro Gel kit includes everything you need to get a dramatically whiter smile in just minutes without visiting the dentist. This free sample offer expires immediately when the samples are gone, so don't wait. Call now. 800-840-5484. 800-840-5484. 800-840-5484.
Just pay shipping and handling.
Newsradio 1070 WKOK presents On the Mark. It's a chance to voice your opinion on the events that affect life in the Susquehanna Valley. Call 1-800-795-9565 or email onthemark@wkok.com. Now, here are your hosts for On the Mark, Mark Lawrence and Ben Reichley.
Greetings and welcome back to WKOK's live telephone talk show. We're going to introduce sponsors, do some news headlines, and keep the conversation going in a little bit, but we have some good guests here that give us another 5 minutes. So if you have a question for Bob Garrett, President and CEO of the Greater Susquehanna Valley Chamber of Commerce, call us now, 1-800-795-9565. Rick Weibel of REW Investments REW Financial is with us as well. Bob, you mentioned a new sporting goods company is coming to the Valley. We know Hibbett's, if you've been in and around the Washington area and some other parts of Pennsylvania. Right. Hibbett's Sporting Goods coming.
Right. I always think the best news when you hear about bad economic news is to also balance that with an opening. They always balance a closing with an opening, and this is, you have the press release in front of you, Mark, but I think it's 10 jobs or so, and Hibbett's coming up to the Plaza 15 shopping center. We got notice on the at the end of August that they're coming, and it's sporting goods stores will join 950 other full-line sporting goods stores up at the Plaza 15 shopping center, and they expect to be up and running for the Christmas season. So that's great news. It'll be some nice jobs for folks that are interested in working in the retail sector.
And they sell sporting apparel primarily, but some other sporting equipment and sneakers and shoes and so on. So that should be good. No, Kevin, they do not sell guns, so you will not be able to get your hunting supplies there.
That's okay. I'm good to go.
Okay, so while we're talking about the local economy, Rick, what's your take on the local economy? We talked about national employment and so on. What's your take on the local economy? What do you observe?
Well, I think we're sort of shielded from the U.S. economy. Of course, we have these great hospitals here, universities, so that keeps employment rate up. Seems like all the restaurants around here are always packed, and that's something I often do is drive around and see how many cars are parked out in these different locations just to make sure people are still spending money, and I have not seen any drop. It's been pretty steady constantly.
Sure. We talk about the universities, we talk hospitals, prison systems around here really pumping money into the economy. State of the local economy, Bob?
I think we'll get those the drilled-in numbers a little later today, but my sense is that we're doing okay. The throughway will help when that day comes, both the construction as well as once it's opened, the economic opportunity and the economic opportunity map that will create for us. But we're doing fine, and I can tell you that every day now I'm getting phone calls from companies interested in looking at the area, and we're being proactive, trying to fill the brownfield sites and that are here, as well as existing buildings.
And people still underemployed around here.
Absolutely, Mark.
Okay. Your thoughts on that? I mean, when you talk to one of those friends of yours who are in that boat, what do you say?
Well, I think I'll tell you what the Chamber is doing. We're responding by supporting the education in the area, because the best way to become not underemployed is to get training where the new employment is. You always want to go where the puck is heading, not where the puck has been, to use the Wayne Gretzky analogy there. But we're supporting training, encouraging folks to use the training that's available at the Votech School, as well as we have our own Impact Series at the Chamber that is very helpful, helps people to prepare for the jobs of the future.
All right, and Rick, an additional comment from you. We're still talking about the local economy. Jobless numbers are out. An additional remark today.
Well, I'll give you a more global comment. Of course, U.S., we've hit another couple records here this week on our own markets. If you look at these other emerging markets, like the Bombay Stock Exchange in India is way up over the past couple months. You've got the Shanghai Composite way up over the past few months. Nobody really talks about that on...
well, because that's good news.
That is good news. But a lot of global unrest, a lot of things could help push the U.S. economy down. Another thing... based on Draghi's comments yesterday, the asset-backed securities really pushed down the euro. We saw about almost a 2% move in the euro versus dollar, which is unheard of in currency trading. So
that's a big fluctuation.
A stronger dollar is not good for, obviously, exports. So although everybody wants a stronger dollar in theory, keeping it weak is good for our exports. So things to watch.
Okay, an additional comment, Bob?
Oh, just that I mentioned about the Chamber is working with a lot of different organizations, and a couple of those you can see it happening right now. The Brick Oven Pizza opening on 11 and 15, the announcement we just made about Hibbett Sports, etc. We're going to do what we can to bring jobs in, and whenever you hear about a closing, just also remember that we're going to have an opening coming as well. And just one more reminder, next Thursday, September 11th, luncheon at La Primavera on Route 45 west of Lewisburg with Anibar Basu. Fabulous speaker, should be a fabulous luncheon. Come on out. If you haven't seen the Chamber lately, come on by. There's a new sheriff in town. We're re-energized and we're really moving forward, and it's the organization that you'll want to make your Chamber of Commerce.
And if you haven't had La Primavera's buffet lately either, you're missing that. That's a great treat too.
The Masamudos do it well.
That's a great, well said. Thank you. We are going to take a quick break here. We're going to dismiss our guests and thank them both so much for coming in. I know you carved out busy time off your Friday and came in and talked to us, so we really do appreciate it. Thanks for coming in. On the Mark is sponsored by the Sunbury Motor Company, family-owned dealership since 1915, 4th Street, Sunbury, and routes 11 and 15. We're going to find out about Kevin's Lariat in a moment. And Lenape Solar sponsors our email in basket on the Mark at WKOK.com. He is the the address to send us a note, and we'll be back with open phones. Our main sponsor is the Sunbury Motor Company.
While looking for a vehicle, you know that if it sounds too good to be true, chances are it is too good to be true. You get the runaround, gotta go from place to place. Well, you can just skip all of that and go straight to Sunbury Motor Company. Sunbury Motor Company has been satisfying more customers and selling more cars since 1915, so you know they've got it right. No offers that look good on paper or online, and then you get disappointed when you see them in person. Sunbury Motor Company offers a lineup few other auto dealers in the area can compete with. With the inventory of Ford, Hyundai, Kia, and Lincoln vehicles, there will be no problem finding the right vehicle that fits your needs and your budget. And the friendly, knowledgeable staff's ready and able to help you with everything from the test drive to the drive off the lot. See for yourself at Sunbury Motors. Sunbury Motors, Ford, Lincoln, Hyundai in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury. And Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf. Look for them online anytime at sunburymotors.com.
This is Justin Charles from Lenape Solar. Did you know we use exclusive manufacturing partners? Our solar modules are made with American components in an American factory by an American company in Milwaukee. Our lighting fixtures are made less than 3 hours away in Philadelphia. Even our fluorescent lamps are made here in the U.S., as are our solar racking systems. We're dedicated not just to quality, but our local economy. Find out more by calling 286-1496, online at lenapesolar.com, or drop by our showroom at 140 South 2nd Street, Sunbury, and see these products in person.
Where do you find safe and effective products to clean up the toughest messes around your home? Hi, I'm Bruce Fabrizio, inventor of Simple Green brand products, and I invite you to try a Simple Green solution for your cleaning needs. Simple Green! I'm so sure you'll be happy with the ability and safety of my products that I guarantee your satisfaction, or I'll refund your money. To learn more, visit us at simplegreen.com.
Simple Green, Simple Green.
Cloud may be just another overused buzzword, but the cloud is an effective computing environment that can save your business time and money. Barracuda Networks is no stranger to the cloud. In fact, all of our security and storage solutions connect to the cloud for continuous updates and off-site redundancy. Barracuda's cloud also plays host to our email security, web security, file sharing, and e-signing services. We even offer solutions on Amazon's AWS and Microsoft's Azure public cloud platforms. To try any of our cloud-connected solutions free, visit barracuda.com/cloud.
Your four-legged friend is an important part of the family. Don't they deserve the best health care too? Then choose Animal Care Hospital in Lewisburg, featuring advanced technology, including laser therapy, ultrasound, and digital x-ray. Everything to keep your pet healthy. Open Saturdays and evenings for your convenience. Trusted, compassionate, expert veterinary care for over 25 years on Hospital Drive in Lewisburg, near Kelly Elementary School, and at myanimalcarehospital.com. We love what we do.
Welcome back to WKOK Live Telephone Talk Show. Kevin Herr playing the piano, doing a fantastic job. Thank you, Kevin. We're going to get news headlines in a moment. Webcam is up and running. We invite you to check it out. Go to WKOK.com. Kevin is zooming in even as we speak. Ultra sharp image, crystal clear sound, great graphics, and all the hard work of Kevin is paying off over there. And that's the WKOK.com, or you can watch the archive at WKOK's YouTube channel. Lenape Solar email in basket is open. You simply email on the market at WKOK.com. Lenape Solar has 3 foci. 1, commercial lighting audits for your business, so that guaranteed a commercial operation will save a buck, and they would just love to help you do that. Fujitsu and the HVAC systems that they install, just a little unit outside, a little unit inside, and you get ultra efficient heating and cooling, super inexpensive, and a fantastic way to save $1 and make sure that the heating and cooling dollars that you have budgeted are well spent. They also, of course, can help you go solar, meaning that they'll have photovoltaic that use the sun to make electricity, or solar thermal to generate heat, and you can use it however your important lifestyle or business can make use of that. LenapeSolar.com, their main website, and they'd love to help you dig into those 3 foci. And the man who's presently piloting a tuna boat is none other than Kevin Herr. Kevin, what do you know about your lariat today?
I can tell you time's running out to get $7,500 off.
Ooh.
So make sure you see Jeff Clock before the clock runs out at Sunbury
cute.
Motors.
That's funny.
They have 75 in stock. Well, let me put it this way. Last week at this time, they had 75 F-150s in stock with $7,500 off It starts at $28,859. They have the XL, the XLT, the XL, the XLT, the STX, the FX4, the Lariat, the King Ranch, the Platinum, the Limited, and Mark Lawrence's favorite, the Raptor. And Sunbury Motors has been the number one F-150 dealer in the entire Philly region for 3 consecutive years. It's amazing where trucks have come over the last decade or so, just from something you used to pull the boat, pull the camper, something to haul stuff in, to now, it does all that, but it also has all the luxury features to make it nice and comfortable and feel like a smooth ride compared to the trucks that I used to drive 20 years ago, quite frankly, that bounced every time you came anywhere near a pothole.
Well, you're talking about the difference between pickup trucks and real utilization of a vehicle, from using it as a car, using it efficiently as a tool for business. And the trucks we have, of course, a lot of them are F-150s and come from Sunbury Motors, but there's sometimes you get in a sedan, you get out of the sedan, you jump in one of the trucks, and the trucks are ride better, look better, and have more assets involved in what you have to do day to day.
Well, and this one has the backup camera, so you can see the trailer hitch as you're moving back. So if you're trying to load a trailer, it'll even tell you which way to turn the wheel, so you can do that. Of course, this one has the moonroof, which opens up all the way, so you can get some air, power rear windows, so you don't have to reach back while you're driving and try to open up the sliding windows. So
that was the really cool thing that they showed me, that now with the extended cabs and so forth, you don't have to reach back and open the window to get a little bit of a breeze going. You hit a button to open the window. So if you're the only one in there, you don't have to worry about reaching back. And the other thing is, there's actually another row of seats back there. I didn't know pickups had another row of seats.
No,
I'm just kidding. I mean, 20 years ago they didn't. I can tell you that.
Well, Kevin, so most of the vehicles you've driven, you can put in the bed of this vehicle, correct?
Yes. Yes.
So how do you, was this a manly week for you?
I did. I said this yesterday on the Steve Jones Show. I do feel a little bit more Tim Allen-ish. Yeah.
So the testosterone levels have increased this week due to your F-150?
Yes,
well,
a little bit.
Well, good luck. Do you know what you're driving next week yet?
I don't know what I'm driving. I'll find out later today, but I can tell you one thing, that the Ford F-150 Lariat will be available at Sunbury Motors this afternoon. Make sure you stop by and give it a test drive over the weekend. And you can also see more details about it. Follow me on Twitter at Kevin Herr, and on Facebook as well. I have it there.
Well, do you autograph the stickers, so when the ladies come in and buy these cars, they get the copy of the list with your autograph on it that has been driven by you, certified?
Oh, I'd be happy to. I'll stamp it. Certified by.
Well, once you drive a truck like that, Kevin, they say you never go back. Some very brief headlines. Oh, I got to say this, sunburymotors.com if you want for more information on all of that. Some very brief headlines. 2 federal lawsuits have been filed against the parent company of the Sunbury and Berwick hospitals. The suits allege that the recent data breach involving 4.5 million patients of community health systems compromised protected health information and imposed undue distress on the victims. One class action suit filed in Alabama, the other in Williamsport. Neither Berwick nor Sunbury Hospital are specifically named in that suit. 11 demonstrators are in police custody after protesters marched through Philadelphia advocating for higher wages for fast food workers. More than 100 fast food workers and their supporters trekked about a mile down Broad Street from a cluster of fast food restaurants in North Philadelphia to a McDonald's in Center City Thursday. Protesters chanted and held signs advocating for a $15 per hour wage and the right to unionize without retaliation from their employers. Police arrested 11 demonstrators and fast food workers after they refused to leave the street following the rally at the end of the march. The protesters sat calmly in a row as police arrested them without incident. The protest was part of a national campaign planned for about 150 cities Thursday to seek increased wages for fast food workers. And finally, one of the nation's largest newspapers is boycotting the name of the Washington NFL franchise. The New York Daily News says it will stop using Redskins when writing about the team. It has a rival in the hometown New York Giants, of course. The paper says in an editorial the name will no longer be used in the stories or columns about the league, but may appear in either quotations or reader letters or discussions specifically about the name dispute. The team has been under increasing pressure to rename the team because the name is considered a derogatory derogatory reference to Native Americans. Team owner Dan Snyder has vowed to resist efforts to change the name. Well, he hasn't resisted. He says he will never do it. Period.
Most New Yorkers and Giants fans find the name Eagles offensive too, so they're probably going to stop using that.
Well,
as
Eagles, Cowboys.
Yeah, Cowboys are another very offensive term in New York.
Jets for half of New York. Giants for the other half. Yeah.
All right. Well, guess what, folks? We got open phones now for about 10 minutes. Jessica Poquin's coming in at 9:30, so we'll be talking to her about the campus theater and some filmmaking that's happening around here. One of our listeners sends us a note, says, where is the Plaza 15 and where is the new pizza place you were talking about? Well, Plaza 15 is in Kelly Township, Union County, just north of Lewisburg. It's basically where the Walmart is, the super Walmart that's up there. And the new pizza place, I do not recall the brick oven, something or other.
Yeah, it's just north of the Sheets on just coming out of Seals.
It's the only construction down there, right? As near as I can tell, that's sort of dirt up construction.
Well, I got construction on the old trail with the sidewalks and curbing, and you have that's sort of a major piece you see
So
coming off
nobody's
the
building a
bypass.
new building down there. So that's the only new building going up. Yeah, and that's on Route 1150, right by the Sheets is a good guideline. And if
I
you
like
want to
brick
go
oven
to
pizza.
Yeah, this is a nice place. It's owned by the
Just
same
thought I'd
people
share
that own Hosses. All right, 1-800-795-9565 is our toll-free line. Please give us a buzz. We would just love to hear from you. 1-800-795-9565. We have a couple of emails pending. We can sift through those. Sammy's been patiently waiting. Sammy, you're on the mark. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, hey, listen, when are you Republicans going to give me my fair day in court? My bet.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, I was going to say, does he record that and just send it up to you, Kevin?
I think so, yeah.
Hey, going back to what we saw here with the job report, and one thing people caught at the top of the hour is that also June and July's numbers were adjusted downward. So, there'll be a lot of opinions on this and discussion, but when you're looking at 220 and you get 142, and then also July and June get adjusted down, and then the unemployment rate goes from 6.2 to 6.1, which common sense doesn't say what's the other part of the equation, and that's the large dropout of the labor force. A number of people are dropping out of the labor force, so they're simply not being counted. So one of the things is, should there be new statistics and new stats looked at when you're looking at unemployment numbers, hiring numbers? Have things changed now that you have to take in some extra information to really get somewhat of an accurate report? But these numbers aren't good at all, especially when you adjusted July and June downward. So we'll see what happens. But you should see a stock market up, because you'll see again, low interest or no interest money is out there, and that's going to feed the financial machine. Also, too, when we talk about our area somewhat insulated, you look at universities, you look at hospitals, but look at businesses that are profit to nonprofit and see what the differences are. Do we have industries for profit manufacturing items in our area? Do we have the colleges, universities, hospitals are great and employ a lot, and they're assets too, but you also need a mix of manufacturing and some of those small-time businesses, those 6 to 12 employees, 20 to 30 employees, the mix of your economic atmosphere adds to it. And then maybe we have a mix that doesn't allow us to drop as fast or doesn't allow us to rise as fast. But interesting, when you look at some of these numbers, what we looked at 10 or 20 years ago, is it still relevant to what we're looking at today?
What's the real issue with the economy? When we're talking about products and services and issues, sometimes we say, what's the real cost? Who bears the real cost? What's the real issue behind this? If you say that it's the fact that there's unrest in the Middle East or, war issues in Europe, well, we always have that. If you say the president is weak or bad, we often have weak or bad leaders in Washington of every level, president and Congress. What's the real issue behind the U.S. economy? What's really the anchor that's holding this down?
Well, confidence, consumer confidence. And again, consumer spending dipped in July, and it's the first drop since January. But why did it dip? Americans are remaining cautious, and leadership is a key issue. You might not like the policies of a president, but if your president is strong and respected, you get confidence. When you look at the effects of the economy, and yes, there is a recovery, but it's almost a house of cards at times. When could it collapse? And that's the lack of confidence people have in this recovery. We heard
well, it's been pretty flat this year. I think we had a recovery of sorts last year, but flat this year.
It's been flat for a number of years. I mean, you're not seeing the growth numbers you need to keep. I mean, employment should be in the 300,000 number range. You heard Rick, Bob talk about. You heard Mr. Basu talk about. One thing Mr. Basu talked about when he picked out the states, and he talked about things that we've talked about here in the show. He picked out states that are growing, and those are energy-related states. And then also he talked about an energy program and an infrastructure program, and not just stimulus programs putting money at it, but having programs that allow, particularly construction jobs. Construction jobs are middle class, lower middle class, upper middle class. Those construction jobs fit right into what we're looking at, but we do not have a national comprehensive program on energy, on infrastructure repair. I think if you had to pick one thing you look at, and I talk to different business people, just friends, people just talking to Joe, it's the lack of confidence. It's what's going to happen. It's glass half empty, not quite half empty with a hole in the bottom, but instead of half full, it's more half empty.
One of our listeners, first of all, says, Mark, you're perfectly mistaken. Plaza 15 is where the McDonald's is, not the Walmart. Big Lots is located there, too. Walmart is the next plaza north, and that's the AJK situation up there.
I think it's right next to the hospital, right behind the McDonald's.
Yes, Plaza 15 is there. And I actually knew that. I'm just not assimilating my Route 15 landmarks up there. But now some of them are connected with new roads that connect them, so that much is good. All right, well, we have open phones right now. We're going to switch guests here. Jessica Paquin going to be coming in momentarily, so we'll take a quick break. But we'd love to hear from you today on our topics as the open phones and our guest comes in. 1-800-795-9565 is the toll-free line. Lenape Solar sponsors the email inbest at onthemarket.WKOK.com, and we will be right back.
Are you concerned about funding your child's college education? Let Mifflinburg Bank & Trust take your worries away with a new home equity loan. Come and meet one of our loan officers to discuss available rates, terms, and financing options, or apply online today at mbtc.com. Mifflinburg Bank & Trust, your community's trusted financial resource with convenient locations in Mifflinburg, Lewisburg, Millheim, New Berlin, and Schmoken Dam. Always online at mbtc.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When your kids are young, it's easy to postpone saving for college. But the earlier you start, even with small amounts, the more you may benefit from tax savings or other financial advantages. So to start your plan now, contact me, Betsy Guffey of Milestone Investment Services, located at Mifflinburg Bank & Trust.
Advisory service and securities offered through Lincoln Investment Planning Incorporated. Member FINRA and SIPC. Lincoln Investment Planning is not affiliated with Milestone Investment Services or Mifflinburg Bank & Trust. Securities are not FDIC insured and involve risk including possible loss of principal.
Know what's the best thing about Gettysburg, PA this time of year? Everything! I love the farm markets here in Adams County, the fresh fruits and vegetables, and all those homemade goodies. It's wine country, too, with some of the tastiest you'll ever find. And it seems the air is always filled with the sounds of a country festival or an outdoor concert. It's a great time for the whole family, or just the two of you. Plan your visit today at DestinationGettysburg.com. And you thought we were just history.
Go Hunt PA to enjoy the outdoors, to be with family and friends, or to put food on the table. Whatever the reason, the Pennsylvania Game Commission invites you to Go Hunt PA. Log on to GoHuntPA.org to find information on wildlife, hunting, licensing, and much more. While you're there, subscribe to their email service to get all the latest news, like reminding hunters that waterfowl and dove seasons are open in September. Consult the migratory game bird brochure at GoHuntPA.org for details. Go Hunt PA. Visit GoHuntPA.org.
You know, it's hard to believe it's been 9 years since the opening of the Y Art Center. We have grown from 4 to 24 classes a month. This fall, we add 4 new young artists to our staff. We planted these art seeds years ago, and now they've sprouted. Come grow with them as they teach evening painting, pottery, and printmaking classes. Just follow the sound of laughter to South 5th Street. We're totally serious about making art and keeping it fun. It's also keeping me young.
The Y Art Center Sunbury, online at ymcaartcenter.org.
Home opener for the Nittany Lions tomorrow. Steve French, the play-by-play voice of Akron football, is going to join us, and Tyoka Jackson, a member of the 1994 team. 3 to 5, News Radio 1070, WKOK.
Welcome back to WKOK Live Telephone Talk Show. Thank you so much for joining us. Very, 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 very much appreciated. I'm very glad to see you on the radio. It is a Friday. We have an open phones segment after our guest is done, but we're glad to say that we do have a guest here. We're going to introduce her. Dave was already on the line when the break started. So, Dave, good morning. Thanks for checking in. You're on the mark.
Hi. I just heard a comment there by one of your co-hosts. And I walked downstairs to get the article. It's in the New York Times. Spending falters, but consumer confidence reaches a 7-year high. I think we're in a mixed and somewhat, unfortunately, slow recovery. And I would attribute a big part of that to the fact that a lot of the money that could have been used to reinvigorate the economy was denied, and so it's been very slow. Businesses have huge amounts of cash. It's slow, but things are getting better. I think Kiplinger Magazine, Forbes Magazine, New York Times, USA Today, Daily Item have had various articles mentioning that things are getting better.
Well, they can say, but here's an Associated Press report, and consumer spending dipped in July, and it's the first dip since January, and it showed that Americans remain cautious despite steady job gains. So, again, at some point, as Bill Purcell's, the coach of the New York Giants, once says, your record of your team is somewhat what your team is. The record of this recovery is what it is, and it's been slow, it's been inconsistent. Businesses do have cash. The reason they have cash, for the most part, is that they're not reinvesting in their businesses because of the confusion of what they see potentially in the future or don't see in the future. So that's talking to business people, there's a lot of confusion and inconsistencies that are out there that some of them don't know how to read.
Yeah, and I think same can be said for the previous administration in various ways. Right at the moment, auto sales are at record levels. They've been for some time. The volume of auto sales has been beyond everyone's expectations, on and on. I think that the tragedy is, and we're talking about impeaching Obama and so forth.
Who's talking about that?
Well, it's been talked about off and on. And when you talk about somebody that should have been impeached in terms of the impact and what was done and so forth and the falsities and misuse of power, certainly someone other than Obama. But anyway, I just wanted to point out I think things are getting better. And I think the two previous Chamber of Commerce type folks also spoke with some favorable things. So whatever it's worth, I wanted to share that.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, we hope so. We hope so. It gets better. We'll see.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much, David. With that, we introduce our guest. Jessica Paquin is here. We know her as Director of Outreach and Fundraising for the Campus Theater, campustheater.org, their main website, if you're interested in, if we intrigue you with this conversation. Independent filmmaker, Fist in Post Productions. Please tell me that came from somebody actually nailing a post with their fist one time?
It usually does end up happening at some point in post-production.
Okay. Oh, I get you. Fist in Post. Okay. Fist in Post Productions is the name of the organization, working on a film called Old Baby right now. And tell us about, well, first, Fist in Post, what's a quick description of your company? And you're the owner, operator, producer, director, and filmmaker and everything.
I'm the owner and producer. I have a co-owner and a director with the vision, and I kind of act that vision out and make it come to life. We do all sorts of different nonprofit organizations, commercials, and fun things like that just to help out around the community. And And we have music videos. We had another feature film before this, and we're working on our next feature film.
All right, tell me about that. Old Baby.
Old Baby. It's an interesting story. Our last film was a horror movie, and this one is going to be more of a love story thriller, more or less. It's about a reporter researching a book about shut-ins, and he ends up meeting a shut-in who is ostracized from what we're calling the family. It's kind of a religious group, and she was ostracized from that, from some strange backstory, and he ends up falling for her, and there's a strange love twist, and then we find that she's harboring some very dark secrets.
All right, now filmmaking is expensive. How do you do this?
We have some great backers who've helped us out for this particular project, who appreciated our last work that we did, The Feed. The Feed ended up going on to being distributed worldwide, and it's on demand and that sort of thing, and they really enjoyed what we did with a very low budget. So, they gave us a little bit more this time for the bigger budget, and so they know that we're going to make a really great product with it. But we also do a lot of crowdfunding. Which is basically people come online, they say they believe in your project, and they give you a little bit of money at a time, and then next thing you know, you've got enough to start filming.
All right, and just one more sentence about the dollar signs. You hope to make a profit. That would always be a good outcome, but that's not the mission.
Everybody wants to make a profit, of course. You always at least want to make your money back. But the real mission is it's filmmaking, it's art. It's and anytime your name is on the credits of a film, you're immortalized for the length of the film. So.
All right, and of course the art that you're working on is cinema, making films locally, which you're using all video now, right? We're done with film.
Film is gone. Yes.
Okay. So you have the fact that there is a art project underway, we'll call it, and you're looking for people to help. Tell me about that.
Absolutely. We need some extras, actually. So now's the time to get your name on some credits and get seen on the big screen. We've got some dates coming up. We've got this evening from 6 to 7. We're shooting primarily in Sunbury and in central Pennsylvania. We've got some locations in Millheim and in Lock Haven. But we need some extras for different nights, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a big cast.
All right, Ben.
How many extras do you need, and what do they have to do?
Well, extra work is hard. You generally have to walk from one point to another. Sometimes you have to get back to that place and then walk again. It's difficult. We need about 20 extras for this evening, and then 20 for Saturday. So it's basically being able to control a crowd. You don't want just random people wandering in and out. You want to be able to tell people to go back to one in case you have to do it again and edit it together. It's the magic of movie making. So it definitely varies as far as how many we need. But anyone who's at all interested can contact me. My email address is jessica@fistonpostfilms.com.
Or just show up at the...
Or just show up. We'll have a table out there in the Sunbury Park tonight with sign-in sheets, and we'll be going.
Beer and pizza?
No, come on. We can't afford that.
Yeah, this is low budget. Oh, you're welcome to bring some beer and pizza.
Yes,
probably.
That'd be great, actually. We could probably use it.
Okay, so you're looking for extras. Go in Sunbury from 6 to 7 p.m. And we always have to give the parameter, the time here, because that's the time that you want them to be there the entire time, 6 to 7 p.m. So that's tonight in Sunbury, and then tomorrow from 10 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. So it's a limited number of people can do that, probably.
Right, absolutely. That one, one of our locations is the Daily Item offices, and so it's going to be a limited number of people shooting an office scene.
Mm-hmm. Costumes?
Just business casual kind of attire. But that one's going to be a little more controlled. Then that evening, though, for 5:30 to 7, out there in the courtyard area, we'll be checking in people, and that one we need quite a few. So.
All right, and that's in the courtyard in Sunbury. Which place do you mean the courtyard?
Well, that where the gazebo is. I'm sure it has a more proper title.
At the park.
There you go.
Park.
Is it there you go, the park.
Okay, thank you. All right, yeah, Cameron Park. Okay, great. All right, and then there's other dates. Where can folks get more information about this?
At fistonpostfilms.com. We've got the website up, and that can link you to the actual project, and it's got the casting needs right there.
All right, so fistinpost.com is the fist as in your hand, and in post as in something that got hit, or meaning afterward. Fist in Post Productions is you do. All right, so the art, the thrill about this. You are minutes away from starting a film project. Don't need the extras till tonight, but the filming begins at 10 o'clock in Sunbury?
Sir. Yes, it does. Yep, the crew's already over there setting up and getting ready. Our first location is going to be at the Elks Lodge. They were nice enough to let us use that. And then we're going to be at the costume shop down there in Sunbury, staging a ribbon cutting. It's exhilarating. You run around and hurry up and wait, and it's a lot of fun, but the end result is always the art itself.
And you're filming in order, so when we see things in the movie, they'll be in the same order?
Not necessarily. That's pretty much impossible to do all the time. You have to shoot out of order. We have people coming in from all over. Our 2 lead actors, the male is from Michigan. He just got in at about 3 o'clock this morning, and so he should be good and tired. Wow. That's exactly right. Thanks to the flight delays and everything. And then our lead actress is coming in from Boston. We have a celebrity from the TV show Face Off coming in on Tuesday. So they come from all over the place, and being able to shoot in order is impossible because you got to shoot them while they're here. So.
And your background?
My background is all over the place. I've worked everywhere from NASA. I've done stand-up comedy. I worked at a record store. I mean, it's just everywhere.
And what brings you to Central Susquehanna Valley?
The director of Fist and Post Films actually is also the new media video developer at Bucknell University. So Bucknell University brought us to town.
Oh, great. And this is one of many projects, hopefully?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we try to stay busy, that's for sure. And then my day job at the campus theater, of course, is a huge love of mine as well. So it's all about the arts for us, that's for sure.
And you also talked about doing promotions or shooting commercials or informational packets for different businesses or nonprofits also?
Correct. Yeah, we did a video for Transitions in Lewisburg for their auction every year, just to kind of get people to give money, and that's an interview process and all that kind of thing. So just anybody who needs help, we try to help them out.
Your take on this area?
I love it here. Yeah, I love it here. When I first got here, I wasn't sure because I am from the Baltimore area and had a career and everything, and wasn't too sure about it, but I don't think they could kick me out now if they tried.
Well, good. Well, we're glad that you're here. Independent filmmakers aren't a dime a dozen, and we're glad that you're here, a real artist with cinema and video. Jessica Paquin, campustheater.org, the place where you can find her during the day, fistinpost.com, the website for her production company. They're looking for extras in Sunbury, also in Milton in the week ahead, and Millheim and Lock Haven, so you're covering the territory trying to get this film done. Well, good luck with this project and future projects. Come back and keep us informed about this art. Bring the director if he wants to come along, and we'll talk about that.
If he's not busy.
Right. Well, yeah. And really, I just think this has to be brought up and talked about. And of course, remember, folks, we're looking for extras for the film. So
great.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to say that, filmmaking, I know you guys are talking a lot about economy and everything, but filmmaking it gives jobs, it promotes tourism.
It certainly does.
Our main goal with these 2 films has been to kind of show off the beauty of this area and show Hollywood that there's another place that, to do stuff.
But also, too, what about having an asset like the campus theater in the area to have the films that you certainly aren't going to see most likely coming through the malls at times, but you have some options then to look at. Now, of course, technology has changed quite a bit, but I think it's very interesting, and just your shooting schedule there. You're going from Sunbury, you'll be in Millheim, you'll be in Lock Haven, so you'll be well around the region.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's a beautiful place, and I don't think people realize how diverse the locations are. You've got water, you've got mountains, you've got hills, you've got flat land. It's just a beautiful spot.
All right, well, fantastic. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate it. Now you get going. They can't do all that much without you, I'm sure.
Oh,
so
you're absolutely right about that. Thank
something
you.
Won't be set up right. But, yeah, thank you very much. Jessica Paquin, folks, campustheater.org is where she works, and but the rest of the time working on her artistic projects, which is independent filmmaking. So we thank her so much for coming in. We're going to take another quick break. I am Mark Lawrence. Ben Reichley is across from me. Kevin Hur, the greatest engineer the planet has ever known. phone. When we return, we'll have open phones. We have a couple of emails pending, so we'll sift through those. Oh, my gosh. One of these relates to the filmmaking. I'm sorry. Pennsylvania has a filmmaking tax credit. Are you utilizing the filmmaking tax credit?
It's complicated. The filmmaking tax credit is there's a lot of work in Pittsburgh and Philly recently.
Mm-hmm.
Central Pennsylvania's, they've had their own film office located in Williamsport, and we're looking into expanding that and making that a little bit more accessible.
Can you use the film credit in your independent project?
Not that we've been able to utilize, yeah. So,
but if you got bigger and bigger and bigger, perhaps.
It's funny. The more money you have, the more you can get breaks.
The more you can save. Okay.
Well, it's an industry. It's like economic development, and there's just a film. Kevin probably watched it multiple times about the NFL draft that was going to be filmed based on the Buffalo Bills. They filmed it in Cleveland, in Ohio, in the Cleveland Browns, and it was due to the taxes, the union, non-union workers, and a lot of the filmmaking. So New York gave up that film, and it was filmed in Cleveland, Ohio. But again, it's sort of the business side of filmmaking.
Right. Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, we are a non-union shoot. We aren't doing the SAG route, so I think that has a lot to do with tax credits and things like that. But it makes it a lot easier on the paperwork end.
Keep things simple.
Exactly.
There's not a lot of paperwork in business, is there?
We don't want the art to suffer. Thank you so much, Jessica. I really do appreciate that. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
While looking for a vehicle, you know that if it sounds too good to be true, chances are it is too good to be true. You get the runaround, gotta go from place to place. Well, you can just skip all of that and go straight to Sunbury Motor Company. Sunbury Motor Company has been satisfying more customers and selling more cars since 1915, so you know they've got it right. No offers that look good on paper or online, and then you get disappointed when you see them in person. Sunbury Motor Company offers a lineup few other auto dealers in the area can compete with. With the inventory of Ford, Hyundai, Kia, and Lincoln vehicles, there will be no problem finding the right vehicle that fits your needs and your budget. And the friendly, knowledgeable staff's ready and able to help you with everything from the test drive to the drive off the lot. See for yourself at Sunbury Motors. Sunbury Motors, Ford, Lincoln, Hyundai in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury. And Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummel's Wharf. Look for them online anytime at sunburymotors.com.
Hearing this in your future? Head to the Outdoor Bridal Show Sunday, September 7th on the Watson Inn premises. See vendors for every need. Bridal registration begins at 1, vendor door prize giveaways are at 3, and the grand prize is $1,000 cash. Sponsored by the Lewisburg Hotel, Watson Inn, and Mifflinburg Hotel. Thanks to partnering sponsors, Any Event Party Rental and Sales Williamsport, Tron Wedding and Party Rentals Kingston, and Wolf Sanitation Sunbury. Call the Watson Inn at 538-1832 or the Lewisburg Hotel at 523-7800.
No one plans for it to happen, but we get older every day. You find yourself making plans for a loved one's care, and you're not sure where to go or how to begin. It's hard enough to put a loved one in a nursing home or skilled care facility without having to understand or interpret all your options and decisions you now face. That's where Scheibla offices can help. Call 570-523-3200 or visit online at scheibla.com. Let their experience help guide you through the process and take away some of the burden. Scheibla offices, planning for your tomorrow.
Smart drive tips for smart drivers. Hi, I'm Jake from Sunbury. Are you driving aggressively? Speeding is obviously aggressive driving, but remember, constant changing of lanes, tailgating, speeding up to and away from stop signs or lights, and general angry driving are also considered aggressive driving. You could be reported, receive points, and a fine, and possible suspension of your license. Take it easy, and always wear your seatbelt. Stay in control, and drive smart. This message brought to you by the stations of Sunbury Broadcasting Corporation, including Newsradio 1070 WKOK, and Selinsgrove Ford, proud supporters of Susquehanna Smart Drive.
Christy Brinkley now is a little full of body.
What do you got?
She's beautiful.
You like that look?
Oh, I'd love to look like her.
Really?
But not upstate. I mean, there's nothing going on.
Nothing
up here. Johnny, you've met her. Christy Brinkley's a living testament.
She's what? You never can look at me and do these, can you? Tell me about her a little bit.
She's the living testament.
Living testament to that what? Christy Brinkley is a living testament that
peroxide causes brain damage.
Oh, jeez.
Let's see.
Peroxide causes brain damage. All right. Well,
Check
thank
with
you.
Billy Joel and see what he has to say about that.
Joan Rivers. I'll tell you what a legacy. And for paving the way for women is the best part about the legacy that's being talked about today. So we were glad to see that. Do got the email that relates to film credits. We can read the whole thing. It says, let's see. I gotta expand this here. There we go. Oh. Sorry, Kevin, we're going to have to minimize the camera. Pennsylvania gives filmmakers a special credit called the Film Tax Credit. They enjoy these Pennsylvania tax credits if they spend 60% of their budget in Pennsylvania. They are exempted from taxes on their production like Pennsylvania sales tax and Pennsylvania income tax. For the past 5 years, Pennsylvania has given up $60 million a year in tax revenue by not taxing film producers. DCED reports that they awarded $367 million in tax credits over the last 5 years. QVC, the home shopping type business, exploits the film tax credit program to keep its production in Pennsylvania. They've received nearly $5 million in tax exemptions for their Constant Commercials TV show. Will the old baby filmmakers be exploiting this tax break? And not really at this time, but maybe in the future.
Well, you look at the line in there is that Pennsylvania's given up $60 million in tax credits. Well, how much money has it brought in, and otherwise that wouldn't have been here. Right. So there's more to the equation there than just the saying that this has been given up. What other revenues have come in? When filmmakers come in, how much money is spent in the economy, in the local economy, filming a show? And I think the train recently, the Denzel Washington was in a runaway locomotive that was shot all throughout western Pennsylvania. So what revenues did it bring in also? And you're competing against other states. Just the story about the football story. Buffalo didn't get the business because Ohio had better business atmosphere to shoot that film.
Are you talking? Are you talking about the
Costner film?
Yeah, Draft Day.
Yeah, well,
it just came out in DVD.
Supposed to be shot in Buffalo, but it was shot in Ohio because of the atmosphere and the advantages of doing business in Ohio over New York.
Right, so we're talking about tax incentive credits, and this is what, to a certain extent, what some people call corporate welfare, but this is welfare that's intended for some of the big players in the economy, whether they be filmmakers or not. And Ben, I think, very succinctly making the argument that these would be dollars, very specifically dollars that would not be spent in Pennsylvania if it weren't for the filmmakers. And, of course, there's tremendous competition nationally to attract the filmmakers. But on the other hand, the other side of the coin is that if you're a local business like LB Water, you're hoping to expand, hire a new worker next year, you get no tax break, no incentive. So there's somebody working next to you making a film. They get tax-free. No, they don't pay income tax and sales tax. And there you are, true working-class dogs. You get no breaks. In fact, you get extra grief.
How does that matter?
Because you don't think there's a sense of fairness that one corporation has to pay taxes and another
does
not?
No. If you bring in a business, and again, when people talk about corporate welfare, understand what that is and understand what the tax loopholes are. If they're in there. But so you think it's unfair that an industry gets some advantages or gets some incentives, not advantages, incentives to come into Pennsylvania to do business.
I don't personally feel that way. I'm just saying that there are companies who feel, for example, my father was a businessman and he would watch various new businesses get tremendous incentives, tax breaks, and say, well, how did that help me over the years? Because I wanted to expand, but nobody gave me tax breaks. He had to pay the full boat. And so that's an anecdotal situation. I used LB, and maybe that's a bad example because you know what their mission and mindset is. But other businesses around here, and we've heard this at this table before, other businesses say it creates an unfair playing field because you can really be working side by side with somebody that's getting a free ride, not having to pay any taxes, next to another working class dog around here who has to pay full taxes and pays the full ride.
Well, again, you have to look at the circumstances you're talking about. If somebody's in a business, if somebody's let's say you own a restaurant and there's a business thing coming in, other restaurants, okay, and there's some incentives for them to come in that you didn't get when you get started. Well, timing is everything at some point. But let's say there's a manufacturing company coming in, and let's say you're in the restaurant business, you're in the hotel business, you're in the let's say you're an insurance company and you want to go sell them insurance or sell their employees insurance. What's the disadvantages of that? One of the things people want to say fair. There is hardly anything in this world that's fair based on a person's situation, meaning that something could be you could think is fairer to you, and I might say, well, that's not fair at all to me. So when you're looking at economics and you're looking at driving an economy, there's going to be certain incentives, and you look at the results of your basis. We had a caller call in about the economy, and if this economy is doing so well, that's great. But on the other hand, if you look at the underlying factors, you see there's some real interesting things going on in the economy that could be positive in the future, but don't look as positive. But one thing, when Mr. Basu talked about energy and infrastructure and a comprehensive plan to have that would be more than just administrations. It would go multiple administrations. It's a national plan. We do not have that. And that's where monies get siphoned off or feast or famine. A lot of monies are put into energy and infrastructure during an X administration. And then during a Y administration, it's not kept up. So, the comprehensive plans and understanding the economic developments, what is our advantages? What are the assets in our valley that we can trump and use to increase the economics?
Where's the hope? I asked Dr. Basu that.
Hope. Hope seems to be almost like dreaming. What are the goals, and how do you lay it out? And in our area, we have a pretty solid workforce. But Pennsylvania as a state does not compete very well at times. And you see that going back to an article in a daily item, I think it was on a Sunday, and it was back on August the 3rd. And it talked about, job growth goals, challenges. And it talked about the Democratic candidate for governor, Tom Wolf. But if you look at the history of Pennsylvania, going back into the 70s and 80s, our job growth hasn't changed or improved under Republicans or Democrats. So, as Pennsylvania, we certainly take a step back and look at where can we compete, how can we compete, and what's going on with the competition, what's going on with the Ohios, the Virginias, the New Jerseys.
Thank you, sir. We'll see you Monday.
Yeah.
Ben Reichley's coming back on Monday. I don't get to come in on Monday or all of next week.
Right.
But
you'll be your toes will be in the sand.
Well, maybe for one of those days. Yep. Than Mitchell, Ben Reichley, and Joe McGranahan are going to be at the catbird seats next week, and Kevin Hurd's going to keep on being the greatest engineer the planet has ever known. Sunbury Motor Company, provider of Kevin's gorgeous looking ultra shiny Lariat that's getting more than 20 miles to the gallon and can literally haul anything. SunburyMotors.com, their main website. Lenape Solar sponsored the email in basket this week on the market at WKOK.com. Toll-free line will be open Monday. Thank you, Ben, for coming in.
Yep, have a good week. Have a good trip next week.
Thank you very much. This is WKOK Sunbury. We appreciate everybody who called in to the On the Mark program. Everybody have a safe weekend. This is WKOK Sunbury.